my parents and golden child brother called me family embarrassment after I paid their mortgage. So I smiled coldly, vanished, and the bombshell I dropped at Mom's birthday party shattered everything. Okay, so this is one of those things that's been sitting in my drafts forever. But after what happened last night, I just need to get it out there. Honestly, I feel like I'm losing my mind a little and I want to know if I'm the crazy one or if this is actually as nuts as it feels. Warning, this is going to be long and pretty messy. I'm literally typing this out on my phone while my phone is buzzing from group texts I'm ignoring. So, yeah, sorry in advance. So, I don't know how to start this except to say it didn't feel like a big moment at first. It started with a weird comment from my mom, which is honestly not new, but still. We're sitting at lunch, just me, my mom, my dad, and my brother Bowen. He's younger than me by like 2 years, but acts like he's 10 years older, if that makes sense. She says, real casual, something about how it's nice that I'm finally pulling my weight around here. I didn't even know what to say. Like, what does that even mean? I've literally been the one handling all the stuff for their house for the past 3 years. Ever since my dad's health went off a cliff and everything started falling apart, I paid off their mortgage last year. I didn't even tell most people that, just my parents and Bowen knew. And I only did it because the bank kept sending those red letters and my dad was acting like nothing was wrong. Anyway, the weirdness at lunch just keeps building. Bowen is sitting there scrolling his phone, barely talking to anyone. But every time he does open his mouth, it's to mention some new thing he's working on, like he's the CEO of something. But I swear he hasn't had a real job in years. My parents eat it up, though. And every time I say something, even just normal stuff, there's this kind of fake smile from my dad, and my mom just changes the subject. I know I'm not the most exciting person, but it's like they're going out of their way to make me feel like I'm just background noise. So, fast forward to a few weeks later. My mom's birthday is coming up. My family is one of those that makes a big deal out of birthdays, but only for certain people. Like, if it's Bowen's birthday, it's a huge dinner, expensive cake, tons of people. If it's mine, it's usually pizza and a store-bought cake and my mom's saying we shouldn't make a fuss. So, for hers, obviously, it's a whole thing. 3 days of group texts, my dad calling me to make sure I can contribute, which is hilarious. I'm still paying for half their bills and they act like it's just expected. I say, yeah, whatever. I'll be there. I even go in on the group gift Bowen picked, which is weirdly expensive for someone who never seems to have money, but I just Venmo him and move on. The day before the party, I stop by the house to drop off some stuff. I walk in and I hear my parents talking in the kitchen. They didn't hear me come in. I still have a key and I guess they weren't expecting me so early. My mom is saying something about how it's embarrassing how Crew turned out. All things considered. Yes, my name is Crew. Don't ask. It's a family thing. My dad goes, well, maybe he wouldn't be such a disappointment if he'd listened to us more. Then my mom says, at least Bowen's not a burden. I just stood there in the hallway holding this box of cheap wine I got for the party. Like, what am I even doing here? I almost just left, but I made a noise on purpose so they'd know I was there. Then walked into the kitchen and set the box down. They acted totally normal, like nothing happened. My mom even smiled and said, thanks for bringing the wine. I was so thrown off I just said I had to go and left. All night I'm thinking about it like, am I actually the family embarrassment? I know I'm not flashy. I'm not posting about my life online. I don't have a million businesses like Bowen, but damn, I'm not a criminal. I don't do drugs. I paid off their mortgage. What else do they want? I texted my friend Ivy about it and she just said, parents can be blind sometimes. But honestly, that didn't really help. I barely slept. So, party day. I show up early. I always end up being the one who has to set up chairs and hang up balloons and do all the dumb little chores no one else wants to do. Bowen shows up late, of course, and when he walks in, my parents act like the Pope just rolled through the door. My mom hugs him for like a full minute. I'm just standing there holding a platter of cheese from the grocery store, which I know no one will eat. Everyone's on some new diet they saw on TikTok. The whole night is just weird. My parents basically ignore me except when they want me to refill drinks or take coats. Bowen is telling some story about a huge deal he's closing soon. Everyone's nodding along. I tried to join in once and my dad cut me off to ask if I could make myself useful and help Grandma with her coat. I do it. What else am I supposed to do? Every time I sit down, someone finds an errand for me. At one point, Bowen actually snaps at me for hovering when I was literally just standing there. I think he pushed my arm. Not hard, but just enough to be like, move. When it's time for the cake, my mom makes a toast. She thanks everyone for coming. Talks about how grateful she is for her supportive family. She looks right at Bowen and says she's proud of the man he's become. She doesn't even look at me. I think I laughed. Not on purpose, just one of those weird sounds you make when you can't believe what's happening. Then, I'm an idiot. I try to bring up the mortgage thing. Not to brag, just I was feeling defensive and tired and honestly a little desperate to get some kind of acknowledgement. I mentioned that I'm glad I could help out last year and my dad just looks annoyed. My mom sighs and says, well, not everyone needs to make a show of things. Bowen pipes up that maybe I only did it because I couldn't make it on my own. And he actually laughs. My dad says, yeah, it's not like you're successful in any real way, crew. I just sat there staring at all three of them. I don't even remember what I was holding, but I know I put it down. Probably too hard because someone's glass tipped over and the tablecloth got wet. No one moved to clean it up. Bowen looked like he wanted to say something else, but I just stood up and looked at him. Then at my parents, I think I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because I couldn't think of anything else to do. I said, hey, got it. Then I walked out. I heard my mom call my name, but I didn't stop. Someone slammed the door behind me, not sure who. I stood in the driveway for like a full minute just breathing. My phone buzzed. Group chat lighting up with people asking where I went. I didn't answer. I got in my car and drove away. No idea where I was even going, just not there. So yeah, that was last night. I haven't answered any texts. I haven't checked my email. I keep thinking about that moment in the kitchen about how they talked about me when they thought I couldn't hear. I keep replaying the look on Bowen's face when I left, like he was proud of himself for winning something. I know this is already long, but I guess the reason I'm posting is because I'm done playing along. I'm not going to be the background guy anymore. Not after all that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I know it's not going to be what they expect. If you've read this far, thanks. I don't even know what I want. Advice or just someone to say I'm not nuts. Anyway, I'll update if anything else happens. But yeah, I think things are about to get real different around here. Update 1. So this is part 2, and honestly, it's wilder than I expected. I thought I'd just feel weird for a while and it would blow over, but no. Turns out if you actually stand up for yourself and my family, stuff gets weird fast. Also, thanks for the replies and DMs. I read all of them, even the unhinged ones. Appreciate it. I'm still not answering my family's messages, though. Can't do it. Not yet. So, after I left that birthday thing, I just disappeared. Not literally. I still had to go to work and buy groceries and whatever, but I started ignoring every text and call from my parents and Bowen. Muted the group chat, didn't open Facebook, didn't even check my mail for a bit. At first, it felt kind of fake, like I was playing some dumb game. But after 3 days with nothing but silence from me, they started to panic. I got a string of texts from my mom about how we're family. You can't just run off after an argument. My dad called twice, left a voicemail that was just heavy breathing, and then him hanging up. Classic. That was the first week. Week 2 is when the real panic set in. I guess they thought if they ignored what happened, I'd just show up like normal and fix all their stuff again. But I didn't. I stopped doing everything. No more running errands, no more random Zelle transfers for just a little short this month text. Nothing. I checked the app and realized their utilities were getting close to shut off. I'd been auto-paying a bunch of it, so I stopped that too. It felt weird. Not gonna lie, like I was pressing a big red button, but mostly I felt numb. I don't know. Here's where it starts getting actually real. I get a call from Bowen at like 2 a.m. on a Thursday. I don't answer, obviously, but he leaves a voicemail that's just him yelling about how mom is losing it because the Wi-Fi is out and the lawn hasn't been mowed and she can't watch her shows. He says it's my fault for abandoning family responsibility. Like what? I'm not the groundskeeper. I don't call back. He sends a string of texts with like 10 question marks in a row, Then nothing. Next weekend, I stop by the house, not to see them, but because I still technically own the place. Long story. But when I paid off the mortgage, the deed went in my name, because my dad's credit was trashed and they needed my help. So yeah, it's legally mine. I changed the locks. Didn't even feel guilty about it. Just did it. Left a note in the mailbox that said if they wanted to talk, they could text me like adults. My mom sent me a photo of the front door with a sad face emoji. My dad called and just hung up again. Couple days later, Bowen shows up at my apartment. I live like 20 minutes away, so it's not hard for him to find me, but he just stands outside ringing the buzzer for 10 minutes straight. I finally go down, not because I want to talk, but because I don't need my neighbors thinking I'm running some weird family cult. He starts in on this whole thing about how I'm being dramatic, how I'm ruining everything, and how mom is crying all the time. He tries to push past me to get inside, but I block the door. He actually shoves me, not super hard, but enough to get my back up. I told him to leave. He goes, "You're pathetic, crew. You're just jealous. You always have been." I said, "You're not moving back into my place ever." He called me a loser and walked off, slamming the door. After that, things get petty. My parents start posting vague stuff on Facebook like, "Some people don't know how to be grateful. And family is everything until it isn't." I get texts from my Aunt Mildred asking if I'm okay. She saw something about a rift in the family and wants to know if I'm sick or something. I just text back, "I'm fine. Don't worry." And leave it at that. I don't want to drag anyone else into this. Then the bills start piling up. Since I stopped paying, the house starts to fall apart. My mom texts me a photo of the lawn, like, "Look at this mess." As if I'm supposed to drive over and mow it. My dad calls asking if I can spot him a few hundred for groceries. Bowen tries to Venmo request me for shared family expenses. I decline it. He sends another one, this time with a note that says, "Don't be a jerk." I decline again. Now here's the thing. I'm not rich. I had some savings and paying off their mortgage basically wiped me out, but I built back a bit over the last year. I'm not living in luxury, but I'm also not about to get sucked into their mess again. I started looking at the numbers and realized I'd been carrying them for way longer than I wanted to admit. Every time they called, it was for help. Never to check on me or say thanks. My parents never even acknowledged the mortgage thing except to say it was the least I could do. So, I start doing little things that make it clear I'm not just on strike. I'm done. I called the insurance company and switched all the mail to come to my address. I changed the Wi-Fi password. It's in my name, of course it is. I even canceled the lawn service, which, yeah, maybe a little petty, but honestly, I was sick of paying for stuff that no one ever thanked me for. I get an email from my mom that just says, "Why are you doing this?" I ignore it. Bowen tries to get smart and shows up at the house with some of his friends trying to move into the guest room. My dad lets him in, but when he tries to unlock the door, the new key doesn't work. I get a call from Bowen yelling that I'm locking him out of his own house. I remind him it's not his house, it's mine. He calls me a psycho and hangs up. An hour later, my mom calls sobbing. Says I'm tearing the family apart, that I'm embarrassing them in front of the neighbors. I just hang up. Then it gets really weird. I get a letter from the city about overdue property taxes. I'd been paying them out of habit, but after everything I just stopped. I figured my parents would handle it, but no, they just ignored it like everything else. Bowen texts me, says the city sent someone over to look at the house, and now my mom is freaking out because she thinks they're going to get evicted. I tell him the taxes need to be paid and I'm not doing it anymore. He says I'm a selfish jerk and that I'm destroying our childhood home. I say, maybe you should have thought of that before you called me an embarrassment. Meanwhile, my group chat with Ivy and some other friends is blowing up with memes and dumb stuff. But I notice Ivy starts asking more questions about my family. She says, "Are you okay for real?" I say, "Just tired." But she's not buying it. She says, "You know they'll never change, right?" So, it's not about changing them. It's about not letting them drag me down anymore. Then last night, my mom calls again. This time, I answer because I'm tired of the drama. She starts off calm, says she wants to talk, that she's worried about the family. Then she starts getting worked up. Says I'm being cruel, that I need to think about what I'm doing. I say, I'm just treating you the way you treated me. She says, you're being vindictive. I said, maybe I am. She hangs up. 5 minutes later, I get a text from my dad saying, I'm banned from Sunday dinner until I get my act together. I laugh. I haven't been to Sunday dinner in 3 months. Now, here's the kicker. He says they're trying to get the family lawyer involved, which is hilarious. Because there is nothing to fix. It's all in my name. I thank him for the heads up and change the alarm code on the house. Bowen tries to text me that he's coming over to settle things. I ignore. So now I'm just waiting. I've got cameras set up at the house again. All in my name. No one else could figure out how to install them. I'm not scared, just tired. I'm done being the family punching bag. They wanted me to disappear, so fine, I'll disappear, but I'm not going to make it easy for them. Next up, they try to come after me for what's theirs, but I'm not rolling over. I've got receipts, literally and otherwise. We'll see how they like it when the embarrassment is on them. We'll update again soon. Buckle up. Update 2. So, not even kidding. Every day since the last post has felt like the world's dumbest reality show, and I'm not even on the good streaming package. I guess I always thought there would be a low point and then things would chill out, but nope. Every time I think I've seen the peak of family weirdness, they find a new level. Not sure if this is normal for anyone else, but at this point I'm just rolling with it, documenting every little thing because, yeah, I'm absolutely done being the quiet one. And honestly, it's kind of fun watching people panic when you stop playing your part. First clue that things were about to get extra. Bowen starts showing up at the house more and more, like he's suddenly got some big plan. I drive by to check the mail, and there's his car in the driveway, sometimes with his friend Raven, sometimes alone. One day, I catch him out front just standing there on his phone like he's waiting for something. I roll down the window, ask what he needs, and he just shrugs and says he's checking on things. I say cool. I'll be inside if you need anything. He follows me in, tries to act casual, but he keeps looking around like he's measuring the place. Next day, I get a text from my mom saying she's concerned about valuables disappearing. She wants to know if I've sold anything without telling them. I just reply, everything in the house that's not personal belongs to the owner, right? She ignores that, not even subtle. So, here's what I actually did. I started going through the house and clearing out all the extra junk that no one ever uses. Old sports gear, some random collectibles my dad's been hoarding. A second fridge from the garage that's been unplugged for a year. All the stuff that's not sentimental, not personal, but would sell for something. I list them online. Nothing flashy, just enough to get them out of the way. Bowen notices right away. He texts demanding to know where the family stuff went. I tell him if he wants to keep something, he can buy it at the listed price like everyone else. He loses it, starts sending me voice notes, and at one point he actually shows up and tries to take the boxes out of my car. I block him and tell him to back off. He tries to push past me. I push him back. He yells at me. I shut the door. After that, he starts slamming doors every time he leaves like it's his new thing. My dad calls and tells me I'm disrespecting the family legacy. I ask him what legacy exactly since everything in this house was almost repoed until I stepped in. He hangs up. Next day, I see Mildred, the aunt who always wants to know everyone's business, has posted on Facebook asking if anyone knows a good moving company. I know that's about my parents because she tags my mom and then deletes it later. Now, the family friends start getting involved, which is honestly worse than the family. My mom tells people at her book club that I've lost it and am ruining her golden year. I get a call from Doris, who's basically my mom's oldest friend, and she tries this whole soft approach like, "Crew, your mom is really upset. Can't you just patch things up?" I tell her the basics, that I own the house, that I paid off everything, and I'm not running a hotel for freeloaders anymore. Doris says, "Well, that's not what I heard, and you know people are talking." I say, "Let them talk." Bowen starts getting really desperate. He tries to organize some kind of family sit-down without me. Like they all meet at Mildred's to plan how to get me to see reason. My cousin Ivy texts me from the other room during this and says, "They're talking about you like you're the villain in a soap opera." I tell her, "Tell them to send me an invite next time." She just laughs. Then comes the money. My dad calls and says if I'm selling things, he wants his share. I tell him there is no share since he signed everything over to me when I paid the mortgage. He tries to say that wasn't the deal. I tell him I have the paperwork. He says, "You're being cruel, Crew. You're embarrassing us." I say, "Yeah, I heard that already." He hangs up. Bowen tries to get legal. He actually shows up at my place with a stack of printed out Google Docs. Not kidding, just stuff he found online, and says he's within his rights to claim a piece of the house. I ask him where he got his law degree. He says it's common sense. I tell him to get out before I call the actual lawyer. He tries to slap the papers onto my coffee table, but misses. I hand him the real documents signed and notarized, and say, "Read those." He storms out, slams the door so hard the neighbor's dog starts barking. Now it's getting awkward for my parents. A couple neighbors come by to ask if everything's okay since the yard looks like a mess and there's random people coming and going. My mom tells them she's just tired and that her ungrateful son is putting her through a lot. I see one of the neighbors roll his eyes as he walks away. I get texts from my old high school friend asking if my parents are moving. I just send the shrug emoji. Meanwhile, I'm working on the next step. I call a realtor, start getting quotes. I don't tell my parents yet, just want to know what I'm working with. I'm not rich, like I said before, but I'm not stupid either. I know if I sell, they're out. I see Bowen at the house again. This time, he's with Raven, and they're arguing about something in the driveway. Raven sees me and says, "Is this your circus, Crew?" I just say, "Nope, not anymore." Then I get a call from the city about the property taxes again. Apparently, my dad tried to pay with a bounce check and now there's a late fee. I pay it just to keep things from getting worse, but I don't tell anyone. I start keeping a running total in a spreadsheet. Every dollar, every repair, every call. I'm not going to let anyone say I did nothing. Not after this. The final push comes when my mom tries to throw a last-minute family dinner and doesn't invite me. I find out because Ivy posts a photo on Snapchat and I see everyone there, even distant cousins I haven't seen in years. Bowen is at the head of the table. My dad's making a toast. My mom is laughing. I don't get mad. I just feel done. So, I text the family group chat. I say, "Just a heads up. The house is going up for sale. You have 60 days. My mom calls crying. Says, "I can't do this." That I'm breaking her heart. Bowen tries to threaten me. Says he'll fight it. I say, "Good luck." My dad just texts, "You'll regret this." I don't answer. That's where it sits right now. I've got the paperwork ready, the realtor lined up, and every expense tracked. I'm not hiding anymore. It's not about revenge. It's about finally being done. They wanted to make me the embarrassment. Now they get to explain to everyone why they're moving out. Next up, Mom's birthday. And I'm not skipping this one. Update soon. Final update. So, here we go. This is the part where things finally actually broke open for real. I'm still kind of in shock at how it played out, but honestly, I don't regret a single step. People keep asking what my endgame is, and the truth is I just wanted them to feel it for once. Not just a little discomfort or some awkwardness, but the full actual reality of what they've done. And yeah, I made sure everyone saw it. Mom's birthday this time around was weird. Not family drama weird, but like the whole vibe was off before I even got there. I heard from Ivy that they'd been trying to keep it low-key, mostly immediate family and a couple of the usual hangers-on. But for some reason, Mildred started inviting extra people. Apparently, my mom didn't want me there. Told people she wasn't sure if Crew would show like I hadn't been at every single birthday for the last 15 years cleaning up after everyone and pretending not to hear the digs. I didn't say anything, just waited. So, the invite comes through group text style like always. I don't respond, but I already know I'm going. I told the realtor to prep the paperwork and set everything up to finalize soon. I grabbed all the receipts, bills, legal docs, the whole file. Just tossed it in a manila folder like I was going to jury duty. I also brought the one thing my parents never expected. Copies for anyone who wanted to see them. When I show up, Bowen is standing out front looking like he hasn't slept in a week, just scrolling his phone and ignoring everyone. I walk past him. He barely looks at me. Inside the house, it's way more packed than usual, like Mildred went full Facebook blast and dragged every distant relative in the zip code. I spot Raven in the kitchen, already half drunk, and Doris hovering by the snack table. My mom sees me and her face does this weird twitch like she's not sure if she's supposed to be mad or fake happy. She says, "So, you decided to come after all?" Just say, "Figured I'd see the place one last time." The whole first hour is just tense. People making small talk, my dad acting like he's hosting the Oscars, but nobody's actually relaxed. I catch bits and pieces of people whispering about the house situation and how crew's been acting strange. Bowen keeps trying to corner me, but then backs off when he sees I'm not in the mood. At one point, my mom starts talking to a cousin about how hard it's been keeping the family together lately, like I'm not standing 10 feet away. Then it's cake time. And I swear it's like everyone is waiting for something to explode. My mom gives this whole speech about family and support. Thanks everyone for being there. Starts crying a little, which honestly she does every year now, so no one even blinks. She makes a big deal about how no matter what, family always comes through for each other. And some people forget what's really important. Bowen jumps in to say how proud he is to be part of this family, even when not everyone appreciates what they have. If you've ever wanted to see a group eye roll, you should have been there. So, I let them finish. Then, I just walk up with the folder. I don't raise my voice. Don't do any dramatic movie stuff. Just put the folder down on the table and say, since we're all here, maybe we should all be clear on who's really been supporting who. I start pulling out receipts, laying them out one by one. Mortgage payoff, electric bills, repairs, property taxes. Every single time I covered for them, documented down to the date and dollar. I even printed out the deed with my name on it, highlighted. The room goes dead silent. You can hear the fridge humming. My mom tries to laugh it off, says I'm being theatrical, that nobody wants to talk about money on her birthday. I say, no problem. We can talk about honesty instead. I tell everyone straight up that the house is being sold, that they all have 60 days. Actually, it's more like 45 now to figure out what they're going to do. I point out that every time they called me an embarrassment, every time they took a shot at me behind my back or to my face, it was while I was literally saving them from losing everything. Bowen starts shouting, says I'm lying, that I'm trying to ruin the family's reputation. I hand him a copy of the legal docs, all signed and notarized. He tries to slap them out of my hand, but I don't let go. He pushes me. I push him back and for a second it looks like he's going to swing, but Raven steps in and pulls him away. My dad tries to yell over everyone, says it's not fair that I'm being vindictive. I just tell him I'm being honest, which is more than anyone else has done for years. Doris starts asking questions, actually reads the paperwork, and you can see her face go from shocked to pissed as she realizes I'm not making any of it up. Mildred starts whispering to people that maybe there's more to the story than anyone said. My mom slams the bathroom door and stays in there for like 10 minutes. The best part, the realtor shows up halfway through the party, clipboard in hand. I told her to stop by just to get some measurements and drop off the sale sign. She walks in, does her thing, barely glances at the chaos. A couple of the older relatives ask her what's going on, and she just says, the house is on the market as of today. My mom comes out of the bathroom, sees the sign, and loses it. Starts shouting that I'm destroying everything and that she won't forgive me for this. I tell her she already made her choice. Bowen storms out, slamming the front door so hard one of the picture frames falls off the wall. My dad is sitting on the couch with his head in his hands. People start leaving, but not before grabbing copies of the paperwork. Mildred pulls me aside and says, you know, I always knew something was off, but I guess I didn't realize how far it went. I just nod. I'm not interested in explanations or apologies. I don't even stick around for cake. I leave the party with the biggest weight off my back. I don't look back, don't answer any calls. I see a bunch of Facebook posts the next day. Some angry, some confused, some people pretending they don't know what happened. I get a text from Ivy that just says, you did it. So, yeah, I guess this is the ending or at least the start of something new. They wanted to make me the family embarrassment, and now they get to clean up their own mess in front of everyone who ever believed their story. I'm not sorry. I'm just done. If you got this far, thanks for sticking with it. No big lessons or forgiveness arcs, just the truth. Sometimes you have to let people burn their own bridges and watch from the other side.